Like, we just want good stories, man. We don't. You got Kathleen Kennedy saying that we hate women. You got Leslie Headland or whatever that interviewer saying that we hate gay people. Nerds hate gay people or something like that, or we're threatened by them. And then now the show is meant to shit on white people. I mean, I don't get, like, what the fuck else do you want? Like,
Well,
we just want good stories, man. Like, leave us alone. And what, I really want to bring up the topic we were talking about backstage about how nerds were literally the outcasts.
Yeah.
We accepted everybody. We don't care if you're gay, straight. We don't care if you're a man or woman. A girl who's a nerd, a girl who's into Star Wars. Are you kidding me? Please, I'll wife you any minute. That was the kind of our way of thinking, is that we would accept everybody because we were outcasts. No one liked nerds back in the day. But now it's like completely shifted, where being a nerd is cool and trendy and you can make money from it and you can join the clique. It's bullshit. And it's become this like weird political, I don't know what, perversion of what it once was.
On that thought, I saw a tweet saying something like, racist bigots, blah, 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 no longer welcome in Star Wars. And then someone quoted it saying, since when was that like the branding of Star Wars? Like, welcome all bigots and racists. Like, what? Why are you pretending
updated our policies?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, well, the best way I could liken this is, like, say you just got a group of friends who gather together to play Dungeons and Dragons or something like that. Like, it's just a shared hobby that you all like. You come from all different walks of life. Like, fucking, some people are like gay or straight or like autistic or whatever, anything else you might imagine. They've all got this shared passion that brings them together. Yeah. And then one person comes in who's, I'm into this as well, but I also really like Das Kapital. And I want you guys to all talk about like why communism is the way forward for all of us. And then the rest of them are like, I'm not really sure about that. I just want to play Dungeons and Dragons and just have an adventure. And then they say, well, why are you such a bigot? Why do you hate change? Why can't you accept people for who they are? That's the same analogy that we've got here, where it's like you're trying to bring all of your political baggage in. You're trying to bring all of your hang-ups and your social political ideas into just a nerddom that was just passionate about a fan base for something. That's all they cared about. And you've tried to make it into something else. And when people pushed back against you, you've just hit them with every slur under the book, because that allows you to browbeat them into submission. Yeah, that's like what every fan base has become now. It's been infested with this crap.
Oh, you don't. But they also make out the sort of the bro dudes that, all the bro dudes can go away that are racist and misogynistic. And it's like the bro dudes, we're into a movie about a wizard and a princess and a little gay robot, and like they went on this adventure. And it was all quite simple. We weren't bro dudes at all. Like, we weren't playing rugby on the rugby field. We were watching Star Wars. And they want to make out the sort of this crazy bro dude world Star Wars used to exist in. It's like, no, it's the nerd world.
Diversity is great. And we love diversity that's proportional and isn't like the thrust or the main point of things. But they said in the New York Times interview that they want to showcase diversity, which means they want to go above and beyond what is conventional with diversity, which means at that point, they've made an aesthetic choice, a stylistic choice, a political choice, which then becomes subjective. And it's entirely okay for reasonable people everywhere to say, I'm just not particularly into that. I don't like it. It seems very messagey and preachy for me. It takes me out of the experience of watching the show. And I just don't like the approach you've got with it. And that's entirely reasonable. But they want to think of it in grandiose terms. It must therefore mean that you're bigoted or that you're morbid or you're reactionary in some way. And it's just not that at all. It's just not that into it.
Such an interesting choice of words as well. Showcase diversity. It's like literally say, like, showing people a concept car or something and saying like, hey, we got diversity here. Aren't you impressed? Look at it. Look at the diversity that we made. Aren't we amazing? It's like, no, if you were smart, it would just be a natural part of what you've created. It's a natural part of the story, and no one would need to make a big deal out of it. No one would even notice it. It's just there. That's how you actually like influence people. Yeah. But when you make it into this thing, this battleground that you have to fight over, that's when you turn people against the very cause that you claim to uphold. There's a great, in fact, I can show you here. There's a great interview that's been doing the rounds on Twitter recently that really just like sums up everything about the Acolyte.
I'm gonna ask you both, because this is, I would say, arguably the gayest Star Wars, I think, by a considerable margin. And are you excited about that? Are you bracing yourself?
Star Wars, not the
It's pretty gay. Let's be honest. Leslie, How do you feel?
Am I gay? Yes.
Well, no, I know you are gay, but I'm asking, are you excited about putting this, this is going to be a talking point?
Is it going to be a talking point?
Nerds are gay.
Well, some nerds are very not gay and are very threatened by gay
Well, that's true.
Why do they always say threatened?
What?
I don't know. Those gays are going to come in the window and get me.
They're like jump scares.
What I don't know, man. Every gay person I've met's been extremely like sweet and kind. I haven't had any threatened emotions towards them.
Well, there's a lot to be said for framing, right? How do you choose to frame your position on a certain subject, right? And if you frame it as adversarial, I'm a gay fan of Star Wars. Are you threatened by me? Are you frightened of me? Does it bother you that I'm gay? Like the average person wouldn't even react to that. They would just like if you said I'm a gay Star Wars fan, I'm like, okay, cool, let's talk about Star Wars then.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you're gay doesn't even factor into it. I don't care
who you love.
But if you choose to make that your battleground, why? What do you hope to gain from that? You're going to turn away the people that you hope to win over. To
the
your
fact
point
that we've circled back to
it's-
them pretending that gay's a problem. Like the 80s and 90s took care of all of that. Like no one gives a shit. Like or even it's but they just keep pretending that we care. No one cares.
Judge you as a person. It's like me saying like I'm a straight Star Wars fan.
All right. Wow.
Okay.
Nice.
Hang on.
Who cares?
All right, calm
And you're
down
looking
there,
pretty
you
white
bigot.
there. You are the enemy.
Well, I mean, we, across this stream, even we've been talking about how we would have preferred bigger and better character work. We would have preferred, I don't know what's going on outside. We would prefer a plot line that made a hell of a lot more sense, followed a lot more cause and effect, gave us a lot more of the world, followed what we understood to be the fucking world instead of just being like, we're telling our own story. It's like nothing to do with, I needed to know who Carrie-Anne Moss was fucking. That's what needed to make. That's what would have made the story better. It's unfortunate we didn't get that. Oh well. I guess what I'm saying is like it would be neat if they could try that at some point, really fleshing out. Because how many shows have we gotten now where they've either fucked up the characters that existed already or provided us planks that we can't do anything with?
I think as Gary said, like if you play activist games, then you win activist prizes. Like if you hire a lesbian feminist activist as your showrunner, you're going to get a lesbian activist show ultimately. Because that seems to be all that Leslie Headland cares about is like putting her experiences, her worldview into the show. And like Star Wars is just a convenient framework in which to build that particular narrative.
There's
That's
also the
not how you go
contrast-
about telling a story. That's not how it's meant to be done.
Yeah, there's also the contrast that in the heterosexual sense, Star Wars is chaste and almost weirdly asexual. Like in Andor, the only functional positive relationship between two people was the two lesbians at the beginning. And so there's that. Plus, for those keeping score at home, Doctor Who now has the worst ratings and viewing figures in 60 years. And it's not because people are bigoted. It's because they just don't, they're not into the idea of a Doctor who has pizzazz and not what they think of when they think of the Doctor. So it's not bigotry and it's not reactionary thinking. It's overload and we're just not into it.
Their commitment to the cause is impressive though. Like how much money do these people have to lose before anything changes? Like, we laugh at every show that comes out from Lucasfilm and then hand it to Leslie Headland. And you think they just do not care what the audience think or do not care what the fans think. It's just they are so committed to this cause. It's just like you look at Doctor Who, it's not, you can't even recognize it. It's
Just
the same
wait.
show.
It doesn't
Just wait till the Rey movie.